Hello all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the last tutorial, we learned about date, and now it is the right time to learn about time. Now, before we learn about time, let us try to understand how do we extract the system date and the system time in R. To extract the system date, all that we need to do is type sys.date and click on the Control plus Enter button, and it gives us the date, which is 20th of January. Similarly, if we do sys.time and execute that line, it would be giving us the date as well as the time. All right, now to learn about the time operations, let us use the same package that we used in our previous tutorial for date, which is the lubridate package. So to call that lubridate package, we just have to import it this way using the library function and click on the Control plus Enter button. Now once we are done, let us try to assign a variable called t1 with 10 hours, 20 minutes and 30 seconds and click on the run button. So as we have all known from the last few tutorials, the moment we put the double quote or the single quote, it sees itself as a character. Now to convert this to a timestamp, all that we need to do is there is a function in lubridate which is HMS, meaning hour, minute, second. So inside the bracket, all that we need to pass is the variable t1 and let us assign it to t2. And once we click on the run button, it gets assigned. And now if we just type t2 here, it says 10 hours, 20 minutes and 30 seconds. All right. So this is how we change the character to a time format in R. Now normally we might also have variables like date and time in a single string. Let's take another variable t3 equal to, so let 21 be the year for a change. We're not using 2021, we are just using 21 as a year. And let's change the format just a bit. Let us use a slash here. Year, month, and the date as 28 with a space in between. And now let's say we put the time here. Time for 5 hours, 10 minutes, 40 seconds. Now once we click on the run button, T3 once again gets executed as a character. Now to convert this character to a time format, let us have another variable here. Now here if we see, this is a year, month and day. So there is another function in lubridate which is year, month, day. Now as soon as we type YMD, we have quite a few options here. And if we see, we are using hours, minutes and seconds as well. So we should be using the YMD, year, month, day underscore hour, minute, second function and not the other ones. So if I select this, and once again in the parenthesis, I would just be putting T3, this particular variable. And once we execute this, we have T4 executed. Now if I just type T4 and click on the enter button, it gives us a proper date format. It correctly understood that 21 is actually a year, 2021. Year, month, day, and then the rest is hours, minutes, and seconds. Wonderful. That's the power of lubridate package in R. Okay, let's try to create another variable t5 equal to, let's say 2021 05, say 15, and time is 12, 25, and 45. And let me click on the run button now. And if I want to change this to year, month, day, hours, minutes, second, I don't have to create another line just like I did over here. I can directly use, I can directly put this entire string inside the bracket, and I can actually use the function here like this, ymdhms. So once I do that and I click on the run button, t5 right now is a character. The moment I execute this line, it gets converted. So t5, now if I print t5 here, it's once again a proper date time format. Now if you want to find the difference between t5 and t4, both of them have date and time here, isn't it? So let's try to find the difference, t5 minus t4. And if I click on the run button, it gives us a time difference of minus 316 days. That is because T4 is 2021 year and T5 is 2020. So in fact, it should be the other way around. T4 minus T5. And once we click on the run button, it gives us a time difference of 316.69 days. If we just want this particular number instead of this entire sentence, all that we need to do is just type as dot numeric and just pass T4 minus T5 inside the bracket. So once we click on the run button, it just gives us the number 316.6979. So that was it about date and time using Lubridate package in R. We will try to solve a few exercises so that it becomes more clear, and we shall also try to cover a few more things that we have not covered here. I just wanted to touch the basics of date and time in these couple of tutorials. And once we go to the exercise part, we shall try to go a little more in depth. All right, now let's move over to Python. In the case of Python, in the last tutorial, we used the pandas package for date. Now in this tutorial for time, let us use the date time library. So how do we import a library in Python? Using the import function. Import date time. So how do we find the system date in Python? Using the date time library, we just have to type date time dot. Once I click the tab button here, again there is another date time here, so select this dot, and once you click on the tab, again you have quite a few options here, but here we'll be selecting now, and with the parenthesis, and if I click on the shift plus enter button, it gives me the date and time in a complex format. It gives year, month, day, and hours, minutes, seconds, and the milliseconds. So to ensure that it comes in a proper format which we all understand, we can just use the print statement here. And if we use the print statement, and once we pass this entire function inside the print statement and click on the shift plus enter button, it gives us a proper date time format: year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. All right, now similarly, to find just the date, let me type print right away, and inside the parenthesis it will be date time my dot, put a tab here, and here we have the very first option, which is date. Select date and dot, click on the tab button on your keyboard, and here we just want today. So select today, and with the parenthesis, once you click on shift plus enter, it just gives us the date here. So that's how date and time are extracted in Python. So these are very similar to the sysdate and the systime in R. All right, now let's move over to the time operations. Let us try to create two variables here. From underscore time equals, say it is 8 hours, 25 minutes and 35 seconds. And the second one is to underscore time, which is equal to, say, 10 hours, 10 minutes and 10 seconds. To convert this to a proper date time, let me execute this. Now, since they are in quotes, it is understood that they are just a string or a character. To convert these strings into a proper time format, all that we need to do is, let's create another variable which is say t1 equal to, just like we have here, date time dot, click on the tab and select date time here, and then dot. Here we have a particular function called strp time. So once we select this, and inside the parenthesis, if you click on shift plus tab, you get a help option here. So we can pass a string and a format here. So the string would be this particular string, 8, 25, 35. And since we have already assigned this to a variable, all that we need to do is just type this variable here, from underscore time. And then the format. The format will always be in either single quote or double quote. And here, the first thing is hours. So for hours, we do a percentage capital H. And then we have this colon. So we have to retain the colon as is. Then we have a percentage M indicating minutes, and then we have a colon here. So once again, we have to put a colon here as well. And then for seconds, it will be percentage capital S. Similarly, for the to underscore time. So we'll just assign it to another variable, which is T2. And rather than typing the whole thing, we can just copy and paste this particular function as is, a wonderful functionality that we all are aware of. And all that we need to do is change this variable to underscore time. Now, once we execute this, once we click on Shift plus Enter, T1 and T2 are executed now. If we want to find out what is the difference between the two times, so it will be T2 minus T1, just like we did here. And once we click on the Shift plus Enter button, it gives us the time in seconds, 6275 seconds. That's interesting. But if we want it in hours, minutes, and second, all that we need to do is pass this difference in a print statement. So I would type print and T2 minus T1 and click on the Shift plus Enter button. There you are. The difference between these two times is 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 35 seconds. So that's how we calculate the difference in Python, the difference between the two time periods. All right, this was just the basics of time in R and Python. We'll try to learn a little more about this in the upcoming tutorials, where we'll be solving a few exercises, which will also include quite a few problems on date and time as well. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Please try to explore more on date time library in Python as well as the lubridate library in R. If you have any doubts, questions, feedback, suggestions, please do post them in the comment section. If you feel that I am going a little too slow, do let me know in the comments. If you feel that I'm going very fast, also please do let me know in the comments. Or if you feel I'm just right, my speed is just right, then also I would appreciate if you could let me know in the comment section so that I can maintain the same momentum. All right. Thank you all for your time. See you in the next tutorial.